we go. Okay, my audio's working. Whoopsie. That's my bad. So I absolutely hate doing line art. I try to avoid it, but as this is one of my OCUs, I really wanted to do something that was nice for them for their redesign. And I think it's going pretty well, actually. Welcome to the stream, by the way. Oop. My kitten is causing a lot of chaos in the background, so if you ever hear me yelling at Sage, that's her chaos. No biting at the curtain. I don't like that this line conflicts right here because it looks like it's just continuous down the arm. And we want to have a very advanced silhouette to make sure that you can tell what's going on. So lines conflicting like that isn't fun. I think what I'll do to fix that is I will extend this arm a little further up. Probably not that far. No curtain. And then we'll keep this lowered. That way, I'd rather have that curved. It forms a very clear silhouette. Cool. And looking at this shirt makes no sense. I did this sketch like, I want to say a month ago. So, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't care, actually. You know what? I don't care. Too much of a pain in my butt to care. Okay, so if this is going down here, this should follow in a line this way, which means that this is way, way too low. Flip warning. And that should connect right up there. Alright, it's looking good. Flip. So that creates a consistent line, even though I like the shape of that. What I'll do to kind of replicate it is I might actually cut a little corner down here so it's a little more diagonal. And if I connect it like that, it kind of gives the shape and like there's just a little bit of excess in the front, even though the side lines up. And make it a little more asymmetrical, but not fully having this down look because that didn't play into the angular side of this character that I want. So this character uses a lot of shape language, and I want to convey that, which, if I show right here, is triangles. So their ear is a triangle, their face follows this triangular shape, even their eyes are very triangular. I just want to make sure that they follow like the triangles. Like even designing the sleeves are based off of the triangles. So by keeping this right here much more triangular, it doesn't stand out as much as the curved shape. Their shoulder is still triangular. I should probably make this one a little triangular because this is very rounded and I kind of want this to jet out a little more. So this part up here should go kind of more like that, and that would fix part of the silhouette. So I think I'm going to do that really quickly. Let's just go back to my original and like that. And the baby kitty is meowing. You want out? You want out, Sage? Okay, so I don't like where that's placed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the shoulder blade out like that, slightly curve, and then give it a little bit more of like a bicep. If it wants to cooperate, there we go. There we go, okay. And this one's a little too rounded for my taste. So I'm just going to chop it. And there we go. Now it follows that triangular pattern. So I'm going to reference this hand over here, and I do have a very defined wrist, so I'm going to give them that. Their pronouns are they, them, by the way, so this is one of my non-binary OCs, and I absolutely adore the story of this character. Let's see. I want to get some more texture right here, so I'm just gonna flip up the hair, give it some more shape on the sides. I don't like that line. No, I'll avoid that line. And I'm just going to continue this one like that. That looks good. Oops. Zoomies. Okay. Checking later. Let's see. Okay, so I like where this pocket is. It's good that I continued the line slightly, even though it was originally behind the shirt. But what I'm just going to do is that. So it seems like it's slightly opened. And what I'm also going to do is curve this so it gives weight to the chain a little bit. And it looks like the pocket is slightly curved outward. Little things like that really add some depth to my drawings. And I did a line for this chain, but I didn't actually design the chain fully. So what I want to do is just a little chain pattern. I don't want to go too much in detail considering how small this is. So what I'm going to do to make sure that I follow this is go a little bit above it. And that way it's still more or less in the same position, but there's enough room for both sides of the chain. I'll end that with a little circle. So see, even without it being fully connected, it creates that chain. And again, adds like a little bit of the roundness. And now that I've done this one right here, there's enough room to alternate the pattern and follow this line exactly, and that way the chains don't conflict too much. Or else the overlapping would have just been a problem. something I had to deal with later. Okay, that's some good spacing. So now I just want to continue this all the way down line art wise. And the chain will end up touching the phone. Hello, Sage. Alright, so the chain's going to continue up here, and we'll count dot, and then top of a chain, dot, chain, and another dot leaving. And that way it looks like it wraps around fully, and this phone perfectly blocks off that 2 chains worth of area. So it's not too bad. The line does kind of get conflicted down here though, so I'm going to extend the phone a tiny outward and darken that corner. Just so, ooh, hello cat. It blocks out that part of the chain properly and doesn't look like it's just that rounded bit. So by darkening that, as you can see if I remove this, it gives a clear line. So that clear line, instead of it being rounded off and intrusive, again, helps with that silhouette. Okay. So the next part I'm going to do that I lined out but didn't necessarily finish is the belt. So I was inspired off of a belt that I saw kind of on Pinterest. Whoop! Hello! I just fell on my back. That shows a little bit more of a realistic way to do the belt, and I wanted to try it in this drawing. So I'm going to actually round this out to go upwards, and right here is going to be that metal part of the belt mostly. And by rounding this out and doing the framing, the belt just kind of has less of a flat feeling, like with what I normally would do for a belt. And I thought that would be a really cool piece of advice to bring into my drawings. And let's see. Yeah, that's actually really helpful. And then I just want to bring the rest of the belt poking out instead of having it tucked behind a loop. Like that. So this is actually a really good breakdown. And I hadn't done that before in my drawing. Cat wants in and out of my office space, and it is hilarious. But yeah, so it's really helpful to think about it like that, because I hadn't before. And while I'm going to exaggerate this a little, I'm going to try to implement this when I do buckles and belts. Okay, and then you just kind of want to erase that line, make this a little straighter, and that kind of melt into it. Sweet. Alright, and then I'm going to just finish off the belt this way, but I do want to have like a belt loop here. So if I have a belt loop there, then I'm going to also have one here, just to make it a little more symmetrical. And then the belt goes right there. That looks really good. Okay. I know I'm going to hate this in an hour, but damn. That's a lot of improvement. Alright, So what's next is the jean leggings, which I like much more of the close silhouette of this character. They're very closed off, so having clothing that sticks to their skin except for the few areas that will have slack because of their small arms. So things like the sleeves here and the bottom of the vest, because they have that very angular shape still. I designed this character, like mentioned again, off of more of a triangle. So the idea is that their body, like seen in this sketch, is only taking up actually about that much for their torso. And then their hips, which go here and here, creating that angular shape, create a little bit of bagginess going from here, and then their shoulder and their arm. So the reason for the bagginess and the tightness in certain areas is following the body. Which is something I have to think about when I'm doing a lot of these folds. And I think about the muscle structure. So the next part will be the legs. I originally started at the legs, but I never continued it. So I'm just going to continue the legs. Now, I really like this kind of angular kneecap. It's something that I haven't done too much before in my art. Let's see. Okay, so right here we have another issue of the line leading directly in. So what I'm going to do is actually extend this downward a little, because I don't want those lines to be conflated. Oh my goodness, Sage, are you going to make me get up every 5 seconds? Hello, are you back in the room now? If you get out, I got most of my time, I swear. You're right. What did I do there? What's going on with that? Okay, so that's just, I didn't know how to cut the sweater. Okay, because that weird bump, I was like, did I miss something on the hip? No, I just didn't know how to cut off the sweater. Okay. Whew. Yeah, so that little corner creates that clear silhouette again. And I love doing the shoes, so I'm just going to do that really quickly. Shoes are like one of my favorite parts of character design. You can tell so much from a character just off of what shoes they wear. If a character prefers something more comfortable, maybe they won't have something that's super flashy. And maybe if they're very important style-wise, then the character might have more detailed shoes. If they skate, they might wear Vans or like Converse style. Something that has a lot of grip, but is something that's very close to their feet. And just by looking at shoes, you can tell a lot about a character. Some franchises don't really put a lot of detail into their shoes, and they'll keep it the same generic stuff. And that's so boring to me. It's a small detail, but it's an important one. So if a character is really artistic, maybe they've drawn, or they'll have stickers. Maybe their shoes mean something to them. If they're an athlete, maybe they wear something that's going to be more athletic, something that is marketed for being able to jump more. So looking at like what style of shoes and who wears what can be a good tell for the characters. With this character, I want them to be much more laid back. So because they're a character that's very more athletic and simplistic in style. I want them to have something that's going to be simplistic, kind of in this Converse style. And I want it to be something that's going to be slender. So that's why I'm offering for the high tops, as it gives a slightly more slender look, whereas lower styles of this would give wider feet. Now this is also a tall character, so by giving them a visual difference height-wise on top of shoe-wise to other characters, their feet will appear slightly taller than, let's say, if I put them next to Zuri, the main character. Sage baby. Hello, welcome to chat. But yeah, so following the character's design and keeping their shape language together is very, very helpful. Just a kitten warning, my kitten is very young still and has been all morning asking to come in and out of my space. So because of that, I will be getting up. I hate how that line went. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to a new layer for the rest of this line, just because it conflicts with the chains. And to keep it consistent, I'm going to extend this line all the way downward. Alright, Kitten wants in. Oh, she brought her toy. Alright, Kitten break. This cat is so smart. Whenever she wants to play, she will drag her toy over. And she will, like, straight up drag me into whatever room she wants to play in. Good girl, baby kitty. Hello! I have a kitten right now who's requiring some playful attention, so ignore the bell in the background. But hi, welcome to chat. My chat is very delayed as I don't have the best internet at this exact moment. I do apologize. But yeah. Whoop. She stole it out of my hand. I gotta trim her nails. Anyway, how's the day going? Okay. Where's my pen? Hello, welcome chat. not super happy with this weird curve here, so I'm just gonna plop this slightly more angular. Like that! Look at that! So this is my OC right now. I'm doing a redesign after a few years. As in, I drew this OC back in like 2018 when my art was done back on paint. So they're getting a massive glow up right now. Okay, there you go. And this little bit here hints at the knee, so we're going to draw just a little bit for the kneecap. I don't want that to connect. That's fine where it is. And going to connect the shoe. Sweet. So as long as I didn't miss the line like an idiot, I think that just needs a little bit of cleanup. And then we're good to go. Sweet. Look at that. They're so pretty. Yeah. Let me see if I can pull up their original design, because it has to be appreciated. Here we go. I found it. So this is the original design, and stray pixel and all, apparently. Look at that. This was back like 5 years ago, and here we are now. So I think it's a good glow up. All right. Okay. What should I do next? Should I do their child design? Just kind of an emotional headshot, or their future design? Because I do have those 3 next, and I don't care which one, but I'd love to hear some input. I mean, this was like years back, so it's okay. But honestly, it's just about where you are in your journey. You know, no artist is better than another. Some just have more experience, some have less experience. I've been doing this for a long time, so it's taken a lot. Again, man, this stream is so delayed. Gonna take me a minute to respond to anything. Hello, long kitty. See, eyes are good. I keep worrying about the pupils. Still don't know what kind of earring to do, so I'm just gonna leave it like that for a minute. I'll go with their child design. Look at that stray pixel. Look at him hanging out there. That's annoying. Anywho. So I was a little lazy. I didn't end up throwing my VTuber on. I should probably do that eventually, but you know, laziness when you first start is not unheard of. Though you guys might like to see your face, though. There we go. eyeball. Actually, I shouldn't do that form of eye because as a kid, they didn't have the power to hide their eyes or any of their dragon features yet. So, keeping the dragon eyes will be a little more realistic to the character. Welcome to chat. Hello, Saint. It's my cat, by the way. She's very energetic right now and is asking for a lot of attention. So if I get up or you hear bells in the background, that's her cat toy. Alright, so we're gonna actually, for the sake of this, just bring that down a little more. Nope, I hate that. I have regrets. I have regrets. Hello, Saint. We need to look. Oh, she got it. Good job. Okay. Back to drawing. No, I should probably put Kitten. Oh, hi! Hi, Storm! I missed you. That eyeliner is a little thick on the end. So. I want to make this eye a little more angular. There we go. Better. Hello, say. You want attention? Okay. Okay, alright. Hi, Rose. Kitty. Nails. Very much nails. I have really bad delay because bad internet, as always, so I apologize for taking a minute whenever I have to respond. Hello, Sage. Got a very jumpy kitty right now. I might actually have to put on Kitten Chaos into the description. Oh my goodness. What you doing? Okay. That's a little too angular. Here we go. That's better. I don't like that jaw, so I'm restarting. So I want to make sure that it's a very youthful face, which means that the chin kind of blends in with the face, and very soft cheeks. Like a lot of the times you'll see that kids have puffier cheeks, and as they get older it kind of narrows out, but to start it we want to have some puffy cheeks, and I gotta keep rounding this jaw. Hello, Sage. Nipping at my toes. Boop, boop. Oh my goodness. Do you want out? Is that what you want? Is it out? Yep. Okay, I think I got this jaw somewhere that I like it. Still pretty angular, giving that triangle face, but it also cuts off so you have the puffy cheek right here, and it reads as kind of younger, even if it's very stylized. Now, I really like the sharp edges to kind of hint at it being more dragon-like features. As you can see, when they're older, they have much more rounded out eyes, even though they keep that kind of dark line off of the dragon look. That to me, even for the American, European dragons, and all of them, is something that I want to keep throughout the story. So since this one isn't as much, I'm trying to add in some more of like the light features, and we're not really going to add in wings unless they need that. It's much more going to be covering and transfiguration wise. You want it? No? Okay. So keeping this OC very lightweight detail wise will be helpful for how mysterious they are to start off with. Now, this character really likes to mess up the timeline of the story. So they were basically born in like the 15th or 14th century. And then, being a dragon, they've managed to go through up until the modern century. So unlike my other characters, they have a little more experience, even if they didn't internalize it as a child. And throughout the years, they've had to learn information as it comes out and wait until physically they looked old enough to be able to attend certain schooling levels before, air quotes, moving away. This is just a way so that they've had to keep matching with the times. And because of that, I really like this OC and how I can do as many designs through as many centuries as I need to. Also, welcome to chat. So, yeah, that's all. I really enjoy drawing them. It's been a while since I've drawn them, and this is the first time I've done oh my goodness, this design in a drawing, even though I've had it in my head. Come on, baby kitty. Kitten today. Oh my goodness. I swear. Okay, so I'm going to add in these, not flat, but sharp eyebrows. I want to give that triangle look, even in the small details. Hello, Sage. The kitten keeps rolling up against my leg. I know you want attention, but I'm trying to work. So, in an attempt to try to hide some more of the dragon features, even though they can't really hide the scales or anything, they do have their ears covered in this design. I don't like how that curve looks. So, I'm not going to have it curve like that. Hello, Finch. Do you want to play? Is that what's going on? Yeah, that's what's going on. Alright, I finally did it. I added the kitten stuff to the title description thing. Because, I think that's one of the reasons why people keep leaving. My kitten's attacking at my feet and hands. She wants attention, but I'm trying to work. Hello, welcome chat. I kind of like this to curve a little more realistically instead of being that sharp curve. Hello, Sage. Oh. Alright, how does that look? Yeah, okay. I'm going to fix that. Better. Much better. Okay. And then by erasing a little bit here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of round this up. And by erasing that, it creates a consistent line. Okay. And then boop. And boop. Here we go. So now the hair on the side makes a little more sense. And those strands will add a little more depth. So now what I want to go and do is I want to make this curve over here. Line up and create that scoop a little lower. Since this character has kind of longer hair, whoopsie. I want this to stay in one section off on the side and is a little bit mirrors the shorter. Since this is them as a child. And I'm going to, I hate that line. Make sure that over here gets the majority of the hair. As if it's just a section that didn't quite fit into the ponytail. And frames their face, same as this little section here. So now I want this to be a solid curve and then a sharper curve. And that's going to be how it hangs over. And then this side will do the same thing, except this bit will hook down. And voila, got a hood. So the hair kind of cuts around here, so I want to make that a little more curved. Let's give a swoop here. And then whoop. Okay, and that should do it for this side of the hair. So now I'm going to do a little section up here. that looks pretty good. So much more of a hidden medieval look for back in the 14th century when they were born. Um, since this character is a dragon, and I've got a 20th century look up here. Message. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm going to move on to my human form. It's kind of one of their emotional ones. Do you want to? Actually, you know what? Instead of rotating it, I'm going to flip it. Oof. Okay. Ew. That equals just not it. Okay, and then I just kind of want to drag that up a little. Go in like that. So at least it's kind of consistent. Hello, welcome to chat. So this is my OC. This is Elle. And I'm doing a glow up redesign from 5 years ago. So quite a difference, but yeah. So I'm just gonna kind of make him really, really annoyed. I'm done with this. Nose crinkles, and now the hair. Just gonna go not like that. Gorgeous. That's a good swoop. Okay, now I just want to bring rest of this part of the hair downward. And then get the curl in. Yeah, they look a little concerned. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to curve some of this, and then it's going to go inwards like that, and up here so it can create loops like that, kind of like a rose, and then a rounded bit that pokes off like there. Ta-da! Whew. There we go. Alright, little curl right there. Just keep the hair consistent. Then I can continue this line all the way down. And then 2 and 3. Alright, and then this little curl splits up right there. Alright, and let's just check the liner. And that's why we check. better? Oh yeah, better. I actually want to move this bit. There we go. Alright, I wasn't super happy with this down here, or this one, so I'm not even going to draw that. I did want to fill this space with their dragon form, maybe doing something a little more dynamic, but that's probably going to be later on today, if, I do it at all. Because, yeah, that's a lot. This is the first dragon sketch, by the way. I'm wondering if I want to do like a nod. I know that I'm doing a little bit of red details, so what I'm probably going to do is start doing the coloring of this. So let's go with a color I'm not really going to use, something vibrant like this green, and then do a fill in, and I'll do a clipping group. That way I don't have to do as much cleanup. My phone telling me, hey, it's time to take a break from viewing your chat. You've been streaming for about an hour. Hello, welcome to chat. Probably gonna have to wrap some water in a bit. So right now I'm just doing a color base, so that way I can do a clipping mask over this, and I don't have to do as much detailing or worry about going outside of the liner. That way I can have a much more fuzzy line art style. Alright, time to go around the hand. Oh, the desk feels really good. Sorry. My stuff has been done. I love how everything just likes to stop working. Alright, it should be fixed. Fixing some stuff on my side. Alright, that should fix it. I don't know why the chat doesn't want to display properly, which is annoying me. Hopefully that fixes the issue. If it doesn't, oh well. Okay, there we go. I went way over that line. Oopsie. the chain. I'm probably just going to leave the chain as a line art. Yeah. I'll just do that. I love you, pups. I'll be fine, I think. I think the chain will work out in the end. Make sure that the green doesn't accidentally connect on the phone. So my pen nib finally wore out enough where I decided to replace it because I could feel it rotating on my pen since it was sideways from the pressure. So it slides a lot easier now. But it's the second time that I've changed it since I've gotten this tablet, which means over the course of like 7 years, I've only changed it twice. To be fair, in the middle of that, my pen originally did break, so this is the second pen I've had. Alright, I'm an idiot, I'm an idiot, I'm an idiot, bum bum bum. Alright, this method isn't perfect, but I do have to go back and just fill in some holes to kind of make it seamless. Over here felt nice. I'm not worried about that. That part I'm worried about a little. There. Okay, last but not least, whoop! Knocking over my mouse. Is this small curl up here. And I'm just gonna go like that. Okay. Here we go, baby curl. Alright, let's label this layer. And and start out with a color. So their original color palette pretty much only had top down, and then I had the legs just a slightly darker gray, as you can see here. So I'm gonna fix that. Got me going liner at this at like 5 years ago. I didn't even remember I did that. Anyway. I don't know if I should do the stripes as like a nod to their original design. I mean, it would be pretty cool. We'll see. We'll see when I get there. So let's go on with a gray. And to keep it kind of warm toned, we'll go with a pinkish gray. So I want to make this a lot bigger. And this is going to be the vest right here. And then we'll make the pants significantly darker in comparison. And the reason I'm kind of going over this color right now is it's a lot more difficult to use a smaller brush for bigger areas. So I'm just going to erase this, and then when I go in next with the white, it will still show underneath. Alright, and then let's do the white below it. And I never use a pure white only because when you're doing highlights, that pure white's better to show up than only a shadow. And by not having a pure white, you can get a pretty good distance from like this right here. I don't know what color I want to do the background yet, so we'll see when we get there. There's a concept on traditional art that doesn't really apply to digital, where gaps in pigment will show. So if you always have a white canvas, then it will be a much more dull color. So a lot of the times what artists will do is they will do a color wash over their canvas. So for example, they'll do it in like a light yellow. So that way when you're doing lighting, any pigment gaps will still follow the lighting and it might make it match a little better. And the closest thing that we get is like right here where there's that pixel gap. So what I usually do is after this is done, I will underneath the base color change this to, for example, let's say I want to do, let's do like a dark red. Then those gaps do that. So it's just a way to show it in that concept. The reason I do a light color is so I can see pixel gaps easier, and that lets me make sure that it's as smooth as possible and there's not too much overlap. And that way my line art stands out in comparison. So I'm not making a lot of mistakes or coloring in the wrong areas. So yeah, that's what I do. Right, I think that covers all the upper part of the shirt. So I just need to do this lower bit and then the white shirt is done. Kind of gives a preppy rebel style. And then because this gray is up here, I can just have that seamless. All right. So right there gives the shirt a nice color. And I'm going to just select this gray and go to more cool toned and darken it a little. Not enough where you can't see the line art like that. Still can see it, so that should be good. And I'm just gonna make my life a little easy. Okay. And then I'm going to cut around this. So this part of the hand can lay there. And that will cut around there. And then this can connect here, and up here can just connect right there. So boop, there you go. Now that this is all filled, I'm going to go through and just clean up the edges. And we can see that there's a lot of blank space now that we're using darker color. So I'm going to actually grab this color right here and go back down to here and then just kind of smooth that out. So it is this very like fuzzy style, especially when it doesn't fully go up to the line art. But once it's up to the line art like this, you can really see it take its shape. And I'm probably going to make this gray a little bit lighter. So let's go to here, a more cool toned. And that way we see the detail a little better. So merge that, reselect the green, and just like that, that leg works a little better. And we're gonna color drop this. Well, I keep hitting all of the wrong commands. Fix up this ankle. And this end of the calf and back of the kneecap. And voila. Perfection. Now this warm tone kind of stands out, so I'm going to color tweak it by doing a slightly lighter gray of this, and then slowly darken it until I'm satisfied. So you can see the warm to cool, and if I go here, it's a little more neutral, and I like that, so I'm going to leave it right there. So this character is very consistent with the dark colors. Hello, welcome to chat. But yeah, so I think I'm going to make the phone kind of match this. Is that purpley color? How's your day going? Nova Art. Okay, never mind, you left. That's lovely. Not unusual though. Okay. So I'm going to do something I don't really like to do a lot, and I'm going to use some pure black on this. With the belt, the shoes, and the gloves. Now, pure black is something I usually avoid because it can get really messy with the line art. So what I'm going to do for that is, once I make it black, I'm going to change the line art to be a little bit of white. So that way it doesn't just disappear. And to kind of make it stand out a little more, I'm going to, because of how I did this, just erase where I want the black to be on the belt. In this way, it's very easy to get consistent in the line art. There we go. Alright, and then now, still knocking over my mouse. Gonna go down to here, just quickly fill this in. Alright, and that gives some pure black. And then moving to the shoe, going to get some pure black around here. And my goal is just to keep consistent with how I color things. I want it to be very restricted color palettes because I go with a more monochrome look by preference. So if I go back up to here, I'm going to color the tongue this nice gray color, and then the details of the tongue will be erased out and be replaced by that lighter color, which is going to be how I separate those colors. Like that, because it's a layer lower, that way it stays in its spot. So now grabbing this lighter color, remembering what my keybinds are more or less, I am going to draw that right there and right there. Forgetting how layers work for a sec. Make that rounded out and black. And now because this is the main color down here, instead of erasing like I just did, I'm going to fill that in. There you go. So now the shoes have detail, and the arms mostly have detail. So the last thing I'm mainly going to do is I'm going to make the hair all this dark gray color from the pants, and then add some red details. So this entire chunk right here is all going to be gray. Okay, so just erasing that bit creates the section I want by going a little bit smaller. Hello! Welcome to chat. How's your day going? Okay, I'm going to round this out up here. Chat's been pretty dead for a little, so I doubt there's going to be much of a response. Oh, thank you. So, what I'm working on actually is a redesign of my old OC from like 5 years back. So this is their first design, and this is what I did like 4.5 years ago. And then every year so far I've done an update. And this is this year's and technically last year's because I forgot to do it last year. My chat's super delayed, so I apologize for taking a minute to respond. But yeah, so welcome chat. So right now I'm just doing the base color, and then the lighting will kind of pull everything together if I can stop messing up on the hair. Okay, so I think now that I got this bit down, I can just whiten this. Sweet, okay. Oh, thank you. Hello, baby. I'm okay. Just got somebody who popped in. And I'm going to just copy this one a few times to make it a little more crisp. There we go. Now it goes up to the liner a little better. I swear the skin is not going to stay this color. I cannot wait for the FNAF movie tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yep. Just chilling. Although, hey Pups, what you doing right now? My curiosity is getting the better of me. Fair enough, fair enough. Okay, trying to decide. I think I'm just going to be a little lazy and make my job a little easier. Baby Kitty's doing good. She settled down after having me get up 1,000 times for her. So she's just chilling over in the living room. So yeah, it's going pretty good. Okay, now that laziness has gotten the better of me, what I'm gonna do really quickly is put a clipping mask. And I really like the red that was used in this, so I'm going to steal this gorgeous red. And do the details. I need to see my sketch really quick. Hold up. Okay, so I only did it on those two and that bit. Okay. Go down to the right layer. So, now that I did the eyes like that, I can just fully go around the gray around the eyes and do the red pupils / red coloring and stop going on the wrong layer. And then go around like that. Alright. I keep debating, so this is a question for chat, on whether or not I should make this or this little hook, red. I'll do that on a separate layer in a second so I can get a decision because I can't decide. Okay, so on a new layer, this is what it looks like if this little swoop is red and this little swoop up front, so it's kind of like this was split. I also keep debating if this one should be red. So out of these three, which one should I go with? I'm thinking probably keep this one. Not sure if I like this one down here. I'm probably going to erase that. Yeah, that one's better. Here's a gray. So should I keep this one here and this one up here, or should I remove both? That is the question. I will wait for a response. All right. All right, I will keep it like this. Thank you guys so much. So the last little bit before I go on to, hold up. Okay, so the last little bit before I go on to the lighting, wow, not light art, lighting. Before I go on to the lighting is I am going to change the little wrong layer, the hair tie, and then do the skin. I think the hair tie I'll just make part of the pure black section. And the easiest way to do that is just do pure black and then erase, so that way I know it's not going over the line art. So I guess it's two things. Whoopsie. Not one. But my ADHD ass can't count. So there we go. That one's black. It just blended in too much with the red. Definitely no regrets on that. I think I might actually just erase a little bit here so it fully goes around. Make it a little more seamless like that. There we go. I like that. That's a better shape. Okay. What was the thing I just said? That's right. Skin. So originally I did like a white skin tone, and I think like after that I started using a much more tan one. So I'm actually going to make this a little warm toned. And we're going to start with a tan base. So doing this with my mouse will make it a little thicker, so it covers up that green really well. And I feel like it's a good contrast. Let's try making it a little more warm toned. This is where I'm just going to do some color tweaks and maybe a little lighter. There we go. I like that one. The slight orangey hue works well because if you look at it from a distance, you can see the difference instead of it blending into the red. Okay, so something I like to do at this stage is I like to do the effect on the skin. So what that takes is I just do a little dab and then I switch it to multiply. And you can see how it kind of creates that orangey effect because it's orange. I don't want to necessarily keep that orange there, so instead I'm going to just use this as the shadow, and it creates a very dynamic shadow to start with. And I can lower the opacity, so later on when I do a multiply fully on this, it will have a slight hue to it as if it's undertones of the skin. And then after I go over this step, what I like to do is I like to do a slight pink wash over the cheeks and like areas of the skin that I think would be more pink, such as joints. Let's go a little darker right under that nose. Carve out like the ball of the nose and around here. So carving it like this lets me have a little more control over the slight minute details. If I go a little bit right under here for the lips and carve it also, I'm able to do that. So it creates a very subtle shadow to start with. Now around the cheeks is usually a really good one. And remembering where my lighting is. So I'm kind of angling the lighting as a little bit up here. So it's coming down this way, which means the rest of this also will have to follow that. So right here. And then this one wouldn't have as much of a shadow until it gets down here, which is why I'm going to scoop that. So it already kind of gives some depth zoomed out. Then this part will be in shadow. This part here, here. Okay, and then this one won't have any effect on it, but it will go a little bit redder and just a little bit more saturated. And that's how I typically get the blush to start with. And if you see how subtle it is right now, that's really good. I like to keep it a little subtle, and by making it more saturated, when I do switch it to the multiply and I lighten it, it's a much more natural rosy tone, and that lets me keep it consistent for any skin tone that I'm doing. So if it's a darker or lighter skin tone, it always looks like it's natural. And by having this orangey undertone, it makes the blush much more orangey, and I don't have to manually do it. So the knuckles tend to be a little pinker, and so do the tips of the fingers. And I don't want this to be a harsh line, so I'm going to kind of blend that. And then if the arms were showing a bit more, I would do the elbow, I would do the wrist, and I would do the tip of the thumb also. I'd also do the kneecaps, the ankles, a little bit of the chest right above here. And another little detail is I'll go in with the blush under this multiply right here. So it adds that last little bit of shadow. And that's how I do my second layer of shadowing. It's all about layers. So there we go. That makes the skin tone. And as you can see, the skin is already a little more shaded. So I'm going to, again, actually take this gray color. I'm going to make a small brush, and I'm going to do the whites of the eyes really quickly. I tend to do the whites of the eyes, also like the shirt, not a pure white color, just because pure white can be really hard to shade on. And when you do a light gray, and if you use a lighting effect, then it will turn pure white on its own. So the base of it is always going to be a gray, for me at least. Now, I don't want to keep this red right here surrounded by black, and I don't want to keep this belt hidden since I did do details on the belt. So we're going to go up here to this line art layer. I'm going to clip it and switch to a pure white. And then do some white line art just around the belt so you can see all of the details of the belt clearly. So the belt's in detail now. And then I'm going to add another one with this kind of red color. It's a little darker because I want the middle to be slightly lighter, considering that this isn't fully human eyes. And I'm just going to color this right here. To create that eye shape. There you go. Alright, and then that creates some depth of the eyes still when I go to add this small amount of black for the pupil after my lighting. Now then, so we have the color here, which makes a huge difference. We have the line art here, and I'm going to add this to another folder on its own. And that will create the set here. So I can just toggle the character. And now I'm going to do a folder that clips, and this will be my lighting. Thank you. It's just using a little bit of color theory. So now that I have right here with the lighting, I can add some simple luminosity, and actually I do want to leave this separately because it does slightly change the color effect if it's in a folder. I noticed that. I want to use a orange. So by creating an orange, it's going to complement the orange undertones along with the reds and make it a little more vibrant when it's a luminosity effect. And I really like to layer my luminosity, so I'm going to start with it at 100%, and it's going to look crazy for a hot minute, but it just adds in this pure light tone. And I'm just going to kind of follow the hair shape while I do this, kind of define where the highlights are going to be. So by doing this, I'm able to create a basic shape. And I like rim lighting, so I'm just going to do some rim lighting around here. And a little bit here. It's okay if I use a thicker brush right now because I'll be using a smaller one later. Okay, and for the face, I keep it the same. So I want to create a little bit of a highlight here, and I want this still to touch the white but not be as far. Now the nose will definitely have a triangle here, except I have that angled the wrong way. And by by angling it right here, the cheek will also kind of have a fall shadow that is the opposite of where the nose is. I made that a little too big, actually. So it would be like that. So because the nose is shaped over here, the nose shadow will be here eventually, and that creates this little highlight here. Now, following that rim lighting, I can go like this. Now, I like to add a little bit of luminosity where the blush is. That's just a stylistic choice. It's not very realistic, but who cares? It'll look cool in the end. Now, I'm going to follow the highlight up here directly touching the shadow. And by curving it around this, it gives room for this bit to have a shadow. Yeah, so this is actually a non-binary OC. Yeah, them. So that's up here. I'm also non-binary myself, so this was like one of my first things. I appreciate the pronoun correction, Storm. Thank you very much. So a little bit more of rim lighting. Some more rim lighting. And a little bit more of a highlight. So, this is very strong shadows for a reason. And I'm going to actually light up a little bit of the lower lip, kind of give it that juicy effect. And again, it is very strong. I am laying the highlight so thick right now. I'm sorry. I'm so used to having to switch when I'm streaming. Or like when I'm doing games. I love you, Pops. I'm sorry. Love you, Rose. I swear, I'm sorry. It's just, wanting to protect identity and, used to being drilled in my head, and that's my fault. Yeah, you're okay, cats. Don't worry. It's, or crats? Crats. Whoopsie. My bad. But yeah, no, you're okay. It's good that it was a correction, and I appreciate the apology. So, a little sneak peek, just because I know it looks ridiculous right now, is, it will look kind of closer to that once it's toned down, and I will be tweaking this, so, but yeah. Boop. Just having it really high lets me adjust it very well. Okay, so up here we'll also kind of have a triangular shape. And this will be a harsher shadow going down. Okay, I'm going to go back to the big brush. And I'm going to follow the shadow. And I think I might end up making... Yeah, it's cool. It's also been out of frame for a while, more or less. Yeah, and then I'm going to keep making this textured. And then getting down to the clothing. Oop! Still knocking my mouse. It's an L on my part. So again, on the pure black, we're going to do some of the highlight, but you'll notice that it gets very strong on the black in comparison to anything else. And because I want this to have a slightly like shiny effect, I'm going to make this kind of pieced out and stretch over more in triangles. And then have in some areas that are going to be slightly lighter and exaggerated highlight like this, which just says, hey, I'm a shiny fabric. And this one will be a little more diagonal, kind of following that exaggerated wrist. Now, over here, because of where the lighting is, I do want to have some lighting on this side and down here. So what I'm going to end up doing is actually just extending rim lighting down on this side. Hey! I like my mouse, alright? I'm very, very focused on ergonomics and wanting to make sure that my hands don't die in older age. So you can insult it all you want, but I'm going to still use it, and that just means that I don't have to worry about you stealing my mouse. Nyeh. It is very vertical. I really appreciate that, and that's really cool that you were an art teacher. Can I ask what level you taught at? I took my first college class back when I was 12, so I'd love to see like your input and maybe, you know, anything that you see art-wise. Okay, so following the rim lighting. Okay. Can't believe I actually got like an art teacher to join my thing. Holy crap. Okay, so I'm going to keep going with this implied line up here. And right here's the shadow, so I want to focus on blending out this light right here. Okay, so by having the soft shadow, it's able to blend it in a little more. And then again, going in with that kind of like harsh rim lighting, and I'm keeping it bigger on the side, especially towards the bottom to show the shadow expanding out, and the fact that right here is going to be tilted a little more inward, and it gives that rounded background effect. And by erasing that, it gives a clearer line of where this is going to be darker later. Okay, so breaking a little bit of art rule here, I'm just going to add in a little rim light, keep that dynamic. Okay, and lower. So what I want to do is I want to put my eraser on a low opacity, so it's a very light, it's as if I was going in with a light-handed erase. And then just kind of smooth this out a little, since I was doing it very harshly and just laying out my base highlight. Now, I kind of like working with this as a harsher light to start off with. I think I might actually keep it as the orange, because I like to go in with a little bit of yellow to finish it off color theory wise. Now I know my chat isn't great at updating, but oh well. Okay, so because of the black and it kind of disappearing here, that's why this next step is going to be so important. So this is the broad highlight, and then I like to do a much more focused highlight after this, because most of this was done with a very wide brush. So what I want to do now is I want to go in, after I'm done blending this out, with a very small highlight. So I'm going to go with a bright yellow about here, and I like to keep it slightly more orangey, just because pure yellows bug me a little. And again, going in with a luminosity, I can brush this up right here. That's really cool, actually. Yeah, my goal is to be an animator. I don't do as much animation currently, but color theory has been one of my hyper focuses, passions. So I have a very good understanding of that, and I've done a lot of study with both anatomy, some art history, and a variety mixed in. But yeah, wow. Yeah. Yeah, this is actually the first time I've drawn in a while, so it's really cool to see that and like just get the right kind of audience right off the bat, since it's been months since I've tried to live stream. So because of the pure black right here, it's going to show up a little whiter, but it shouldn't be that white. As you can see, I accidentally selected the wrong color. That happens a lot. So digital right here is my main medium. I do traditional sometimes when I want. Mostly watercolor with traditional though. I like the lack of control and being able to be creative, while there's also a level of what's the word? Why am I blanking? I really like the level of blending and variety that you can get with it, whether or not it's going to be realistic or just cartoony. It can make gorgeous landscapes. It blends together so well, especially knowing how to work it and having the right kind of paper. So just kind of making this highlight a little lighter really quickly right up here. And this is about the time that I'm going to just lower this. And this is where I'm noticing, because I'm using a little bit of a cooler tone on the black, that I might have to go over and group these up like I originally wanted to avoid, because it does that. but I might have to go in and just manually change the color for the black to be cooler toned, just so that way it shows up better than just being a warm tone on a cool tone and washing it out instead of highlighting it with a complement. And then I usually do my my shadows also with a cooler tone, so that shouldn't be too difficult. It's a little too big. Okay, and then just thickening that up. So it's got a directional highlight, and then it also has an area highlight. Okay. There we go. I'll actually bring this directional a little further down. Nope, no I'm not. I'm going to leave that up to the shadow. Okay, so because of how saturated the red is, the highlight's going to be very subtle in comparison. And even in the shadow bits, I want a little bit of highlight so that way it's very visible from what's going on. And when I put a darker layer over it, kind of similar to a purple wash, it'll keep the highlighted effect. So because of the color I'm using on the red right here, you can see how well it highlights it versus on the black, which is why I'm going to have to go through with the color. It'll be quite chaotic until I get there, but oh well. So what I'm going to do is go in with this right here as that rim light, lightening it up a little more. Okay. Now my light wash over here is going to be super vibrant, but not very detailed. And this way it draws attention up here. Alright, see you later, critter. Thank you so much for popping in. And voila. Okay, so what I'm going to do lastly is clip you and switch you to a blue. Now the blue is going to go over any area that's going to be like that black. How am I going to do this? I know exactly how I'm going to do this. Alright, there's no choice. Okay, so now I'm just gonna do this as much more of a cool tone, and that green will leave the moment that this is done. So you're gonna have that cool tone, and up here you are gonna have that cool tone. And actually, you know what, I'm gonna change that to purple. Now we can go on a wider brush and make that a little bluer. There, that's the kind of color I want. Hello, welcome back. So once I'm done with this character, I will be logging off for today. But I'm just finishing up the lighting effect. And then a little bit on the shoe. Okay, and then this will merge down. You can go back to a clip. And now we're going to move a little more blue. And then this is where the magic happens. Okay, and then just going to clip under that, and the multiply I like to do a little bit more of like a cool pink, so that way it can work on all of the above. So that's going to go on the eyes and around here and up here. And anywhere that there's going to be heavy shadow, the shadowing tends to be a little bit more messy. So now just kind of bringing this up to the highlights up here, which makes them pop a little bit more. A little bit right there, a little bit here in the middle. And then just a little bit under here, and kind of where the vest lines off, right up here in the shadow of the folds. Focusing on where it's going to contrast the best. Alright, and then with this on a multiply, we can just lower the opacity. And now I'm going to go in with a slightly cooler tone around the same color. Do the same. Alright, and then a little bit of shadow going on the highlight directly. Now building up the shadow from the ear. Shadow right here. Shadow effects going around the messy bun and kind of bringing in the darkness at the ponytail section here. Now a little bit on that red. A little bit on this red, a little bit on this red, a little bit contrasting the highlight up here. Under the nose, and on the bottom side of the mouth, and following a sharp line around here. So this will end up creating that last bit of multiply. Now if it's all the way, you can see how very dark that is versus when it's lighter and it's a very subtle shadow. So last but not least, before I log off, is I am going to choose a background color, which will probably end up being this kind of warmish red. Nope, okay, so moving in. Maybe it needs to be slightly orangey. saturated. Alright, there we go. Now this brings out that last bit of color, and something I noticed that I forgot to do on here is just add that slight bit of a darker pupil. I am, baby. I'm logging off right now. I love you too. Alright. And there we go. That is my OC. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to everyone who popped in. I will leave this up to be replayed for all of people on YouTube. I walked through the process of how I create this OC. I might do a few more streams, and if anyone's interested in some lore, please let me know. So thank you guys so much. Toodaloo.